That's how this is working. It's very obvious. And listen, the NFC East, if you look at that division, it's massively vulnerable and it's unstable right now. I know the Eagles won a Super Bowl a couple of seasons ago, but if we're talking quarterback leadership and your best receiver wanting out, I mean, that's an issue. And Philadelphia won the division last year because the Cowboys are the Cowboys, all right? The Giants now are dealing with a Dexter Lawrence issue and a head coach that's got to kind of rebuild this thing and may use somebody like Dexter Lawrence or any other player as an example to try and raise the floor of the culture there with the Giants. But last year, the Giants were a mess, had a lot of young players, had a rookie quarterback. So the Commanders dealt with a ton of injuries. They were an absolute disaster last year. They were completely cursed. So Philadelphia kind of won the division by default. That offense was a disaster. That defense was elite. But you watch them in the playoffs, same thing, out right away. I mean, the NFC East is very vulnerable right now. It's up for grabs. Now, do I think that Dallas or Washington or the Giants are better than the Eagles on paper? No. But it's not always just, we've seen this in the NFL, it's not just what's on paper. I've seen it plenty of times where teams have a better roster, and you look at it and realize there's no chemistry, there's no leadership. Let's be honest with ourselves. Do the Eagles really have good culture or chemistry or leadership there? Is Nick Sirianni the type of coach that you really want running your mouth the way he does? He's a massive troll. And it works when you're winning. It works when you're winning. But is it something that's really consistent? Is it something that we've seen where the Eagles have been a consistent winner, where there's not a lot of drama, where it feels like Nick Sirianni's got everything under control? He's mouthing off to fans. He's cocky in the media. Yeah. Win a Super Bowl, you get a little leeway. What happened last year carries over to this year. Nick Sirianni's going to be on the hot seat. Because we all know, you Philadelphia fans, you're all very reasonable, though. You're all very calm. You're all very measured. So I'm sure you won't be upset if the Eagles start off 1-2, right? And the offense looks terrible. I'm sure Nick Sirianni will be just fine. Look, this is going to be a major thing this year in Philadelphia. Is the offense, is Jalen Hurts, because the narrative is there. Oh, and don't wait, just wait for training camp. We got a long way to go. But you think there's not going to be more conversation about Jalen Hurts in this offense and A.J. Brown than A.J. Imagine if A.J. Brown is still there in training camp. Oh, the circus that you'll have. That's the only thing they're going to be asked. That's the only thing they're going to be asked is about A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, the relationship, which is why Philadelphia's got to move him by then. It's done. You can't have that. But they've set the tone there. They've placed the early blame, and it's on Jalen Hurts. That's what this is. And now you're trying to raise the stock of A.J. Brown as best you can. He's gone. He's going to get moved. It's just going to take some time there. The question is, where does he go? And how much at 29 years old? We know teams in 30-year-old wide receivers even, right? That's that big number in the NFL. Running backs, wide receivers. Teams get all concerned. That's going to be a factor in this. So we'll see. The NFC East is going to be very interesting to watch. We still got a lot of offseason. The one thing I know, Howie Roseman, though, he ain't going to let this team fall behind. Damn good GM. Another hour coming up. Nick Ashew, Westwood One Sports.
This is Westwood One Sports.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets, but I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there. To learn more, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
Hey, it's Tyler Reddick.
And Bubba Wallace from 2311 Racing.
On the track, every second counts.
And off the track, the same rules apply. Just fewer pit stops.
That's why we're spinning into Chumba Casino.
From social live casino to slot masters, the action's fast, fun, and totally free.
Rack up points, climb the leaderboard, and take home bragging rights.
Play anytime, anywhere. No downloads needed.
Join the race at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by VGW Group. No purchase necessary. See terms at ChumbaCasino.com. Must be over 21, present in the state where it's legal to play.
Shriners Hospitals for Children has been creating wonderful opportunities for children in need. This life-changing medical care helps them do the things they've always dreamed of. Go to loveshriners.org.
Look at him, eating whatever he wants, never gaining a pound. While I'm stuck with the boring special and can't lose an ounce.
How's your lunch, man?
Amazing. Yours?
So good.
Oh, I'm so happy for you.
Cool, buddy.
Weight loss isn't fair, but Mochi Health is. The affordable GLP-1 source that can fix your frustration with food.
So, same time next week?
No! Definitely.
And your friends. Learn more at joinmochi.com. Mochi members have access to licensed physicians and nutritionists. Results may vary.
Instacart shopper notes make it easy to get the fish you want, which means you can write super specific notes about your fish, like,
white fish, fresh from the stall. Firm to the touch, no smell at all. Skin off, bones out, thick, not thin. Bring the sea to my kitchen.
I did say right, but hey, that was catchy. Want seafood just how you like? Download the Instacart app and get particular with shopper notes.
Now that Wendy's has these new biggie deals, everyone in the family can get what they're craving, from nugs to JBCs. The parental units can get an $8 biggie bundle, the eldest who think they're so grown can get a $6 biggie bag, and the little one who can do no wrong can get a $4 biggie bites. You know, assuming they have a credit card. No, I'm kidding. We take cash too. 4, 6, and $8 biggie deals for the whole family. Only at Wendy's.
Price and participation may vary. Single items at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska, California, and Hawaii.
What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36% more vacation.
Another pina colada?
Yes, please. Open a new retail location with 36% more square feet.
Fantastic.
Hire 36% more help.
You're hired and you're hired.
Shopify has the world's best converting checkout, up to 36% better than other e-commerce platforms. What you do with those extra sales is up to you. Switch to Shopify today at shopify.com/setup and get a $1 trial. Shopify.com/setup.
For approval only.
Circle K's new free Inner Circle membership program is all about rewarding you with the things you'll love. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
I was going to make a dentist appointment. I really was. But then it rained, and I thought, that feels like a sign. Then it stopped raining, which also felt like a sign. Then I got busy. Then I got hungry. Then suddenly it was somehow October. We're very creative when it comes to putting things off. Until we're not. When life needs you strong, you break through. Confidence unleashed. Find a dentist near you at smilegeneration.com/confidence.
Right now at the Home Depot, shop Spring Black Friday savings and get up to 40% off, plus up to $500 off select appliances from top brands like Samsung. Get a fridge with 0 clearance hinges, so the doors open fully even in tighter spaces in your kitchen. And laundry that saves you time, like an all-in-one washer-dryer that can run a full load in just 68 minutes. Shop Spring Black Friday savings, plus get free delivery on appliance purchases of $998 or more at the Home Depot. Offer valid April 9th through April 29th, U.S. only. See store online for details.
Hey, it's Tyler Reddick from 2311 Racing. Most slot games are a solo lap. Slot Masters on Chumba Casino puts you on the grid with 2 other players. Battle it out over a 2-minute run. Everyone's spinning at once, points stacking up, and the leaderboard updating before the clock hits 0. Are you ready to race? With over 200 casino-style games and new ones dropping every week, there's always something new to line up for. Join the fun at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See T's and C's. 21 plus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
Hey, America, want to save $1,000? That was a rhetorical question. Switch to Spectrum and save $1,000 guaranteed. Seriously, you can hold us to it. We call it the Spectrum Savings Guarantee. Just get fiber-powered gig internet with equal upload and download speeds for just $50 a month. And when you switch 2 mobile lines, we guarantee $1,000 of real savings in your first year, or we'll cover the difference. Again, that's a guarantee. You don't get many of those in life. Learn more at spectrum.com/get50. Spectrum Internet is powered by fiber and connected to the premises by coaxial lines. Restrictions apply.
You're listening to Westwood One Sports on WFAN FM HD2 New York, an Odyssey sports station. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. DiVincenzo a 3. Bang! Bang! Knicks take a 1-point lead with 13 seconds remaining.
Westwood One presents Nick Ashew.
We got ourselves the start of the NBA playoffs today. Play-in tournament doesn't count. It's been fun except for last night. Those were duds of games. Warriors dynasty coming to an end. I think they got like one more year left. Not a dynasty, obviously, but, you know, one more year with this core together. Steve Kerr can be as cryptic as he wants, but I think he wants to go one more run with Steph. They can do some things this offseason. It depends on what the Warriors do. That Magic Hornets game was just unwatchable. So, the Magic just beat the hell out of them. And listen, not every one of those is going to be good. Not every one of those games is going to be interesting. Over the course of the last 5 years, see there, Stu, I did math this time. I was able to count 5 years, not 11 like last hour. I know that we've got 5 years since they started the NBA's play-in tournament. Math isn't always a strong suit for me this early in the morning. That's where the coffee comes in. That's where it comes in. I've been sneezing like crazy, by the way. I know nobody cares, but I'm just going to say this. The allergies are brutal. If you live in an area that doesn't have a lot of pollen and stuff, good for you. If you do, and you've dealt with it, well, we're on the same page. Listen, I'll take this over the winter literally the entire East Coast has had, where I had snow encased in ice outside of our house for what felt like 6 months. But, man, the pollen has been just brutal. And if you don't deal with allergies, lucky you. Lucky you. So, yeah, look, the NBA playoffs are... we know the first round's long, and it's a weird spot too, because when you really sit where if you look at right now, parity is absolutely part of the conversation in the NBA playoffs. Yet at the same time, there's like no teams that you trust, right? Because we're still in a point where, okay, the Thunder won a championship last year. The Celtics won a championship a couple of years ago. Both of those are the only teams that I truly trust in the playoffs. Yet at the same time, they could lose. They haven't established themselves as dynasties yet, but they've established themselves as the teams that you would trust the most in the NBA playoffs right now. Now, do I think, like I said before, the Thunder are in line to potentially be a dynasty? Absolutely. But is it too early to crown them a dynasty? Yeah, they've won one championship. You see what I mean? It's the same thing with the Celtics, and it's taken the Celtics even longer to get to that point, get over that hump, finally win a championship. But that's part of the NBA playoffs, right? You get to a point where you start to take those leaps. Young team. You start having better regular seasons. You're a play-in team. And then you're a playoff team. And then you lose in the second round. And then you get to the point where you're a real championship contender. That's the way the Thunder went. That's the way the Celtics went. Those teams have the experience. They have the talent. And the Celtics, this was supposed to be a lost season for them. And they looked around and went, we're still good without Jason Tatum. And then they get Jason Tatum back. Why would you not trust them as long as they stay healthy in the playoffs? The Thunder have the talent and all the pieces, including a ton of first-round picks still coming up, where they can not only be a contender now, but be a contender for the next decade. I mean, they really can. And they've got their stars all locked up on deals. So you look around and go, okay, we've got a potential for Thunder Celtics to be NBA Finals matchups that we see year after year, like we had Cavs Warriors, right? But after those two teams, it's hard to trust anybody in these playoffs. I mean, you could throw the Nuggets in the mix. They took Oklahoma City to 7 games last year in the second round, which, is kind of forgotten at this point because the Thunder won the championship. And you got Nikola Jokic, which, he effortlessly goes out there and plays like an MVP and really just wants to go hang out with his horses. I wonder if sometimes Nikola Jokic sits on the bench and just thinks about his horses. It's just like, man, as much as I love basketball, I want to go home and just hang out with my horses. And listen, good for him, man. It makes the dude happy. But like you watch it and go, I sometimes wonder if there's like another level to Nikola Jokic we'll never see. We always said this about Shaq, right? Shaq literally said, if I got myself in better shape, I would have been more dominant. I sometimes wonder if there's another level in Nikola Jokic that we'll just never see because some of this is just so effortless for him. But it can't just be him anyway. If you're the Nuggets, it can't just be Nikola Jokic. They got solid depth. They added some pieces this offseason, but are they going to be consistent enough? Is Jamal Murray going to shoot the ball consistently well? Is Aaron Gordon going to get in foul trouble? Is he, they've added, they got some younger pieces out there, guys that can score. But like you don't really know what you're going to get with the Nuggets. They do have that experience. They've been in the playoffs a bunch. You got the best player in the NBA, Nikola Jokic out there, and you've won a championship. So if I'm going to tier it, it's going to be Celtics, Thunder as the two teams you look at the top and go, the trust level is the highest there. After that, it's the Nuggets are in the second tier by themselves as a maybe. Because you have to put them there by themselves because, yes, they've won a championship, but yes, we're a few years removed from it. Yes, they have the best player, but yes, they also have questions, right? Not that any other team doesn't also have questions, but the Nuggets have to go a tier down from that. And then after that, the rest of it is, it's all question marks. Really. There are some teams you just throw out and just say, no, I'm not, I don't, The Suns, they ain't beating the Thunder. Do you trust the Magic? No, I don't trust the Magic. Do you trust go down the list of any of these other teams. The Cavs, they got some talent, but we know what James Harden's going to do. He's going to disappear in the playoffs. You're in a weird spot with a team like the Knicks, because the Knicks went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Look, I'm a Knicks fan, so I'm either jaded or really excited. I'm mostly jaded. Jalen Brunson as the number one. That's always been a question. In today's NBA, and really most of the time, if you look back, great guards leading teams to championships, like little guys. Sorry, he's 6'2". By NBA standards, Jalen Brunson ain't a big dude. This has always been the criticism. Can somebody like that take a team to a championship? You need great wing play, and that's what the Knicks are going to have. OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, they have to play lights out in the playoffs for the Knicks to get to the finals, for the Knicks to get through the Celtics. Why did the Knicks trade for OG Anunoby at the deadline? Why did the Knicks trade and give up a ton of first-round picks for Mikal Bridges? Wings that can go out there and compete with the Celtics. That's why they made that trade. Are you going to get good Karl Anthony Towns? Is it going to be bad Cat? What are you going to get? Is he going to look completely lost out there, or is he going to dominate? There's a lot of questions around this team. They got to an Eastern Conference Finals last year. That was with a different coach. Is Mike Brown the coach that can get them to an NBA Finals? Let's go back and think of this offseason. The Knicks thought Tom Thibodeau wasn't their guy. Got rid of him. Okay. Then they tried to steal everybody else's wife. Nobody was going to let that happen because all they did was go, we want to interview your coach. No. We want to interview your coach. No. They kept trying. It was like, everyone's like, no, you're not going to get permission to talk to our head coach. It was like the dumbest coaching search we've ever seen. They just kept trying to go out and steal everybody else's coach and you're not going to talk to him. So they go, Mike Brown, how about that? Okay. He had one great year with the Kings. You go back to the Cavs, and now you had some... But, Mike Brown has never been that coach to elevate a team to a championship level. Had they gone and hired Eric Spoelstra, maybe that's a different story. So, you look at the Knicks and go, okay, what is their ceiling? It might be Eastern Conference Finals again. And I know everybody loves to talk about the Spurs, and this is a talented team, okay? But Wemby's 22 years old. The Spurs are where the Thunder were a couple of years ago. Get to that point where you're a great regular season team. You get to the playoffs, you lose in the second round. That's where the Spurs are right now. Maybe Western Conference. No, they're probably a second round team. Really, that's what this is. If we're being honest with ourselves, the playoffs, you have to go through that second round loss. It's like this rite of passage. Hell, even Michael Jordan had to get through the Pistons, and he lost in the playoffs for a few years too. Spurs are just too young. And the difference between the regular season and the postseason, I don't care how many wins you had in the regular season. The game's officiated differently. It's a little more physical. The pressure is different. The spotlight is different. All of it. You have to gain that experience. And the Spurs will get there. But they're not there yet. If the Lakers were healthy, I would actually maybe throw them in the mix of the maybe. I'd put them in maybe right below the Nuggets, just because of the talent that they do have and the way that the Lakers were coming together. Luka was starting to play at least a smidge of defense. It became Luka and Austin Reeves' team, and LeBron took that step back and became more the facilitator and allowed them to grow. They were starting to click, and J.J. Redick was getting this team to play well, and then all of a sudden, 48 hours, they're smacked in the face. They lose Luka. They lose Austin Reeves, and you're looking around, and it's LeBron by himself, like Will Smith at the end of Fresh Prince, in an empty living room going, where is everybody? That's what it came down to. And the Lakers aren't going to win a championship with LeBron carrying this team by himself. And I'm sorry, they can't beat the Rockets if it's LeBron trying to carry this team by himself. And I love LeBron. I'm not one of those people that finds every little thing that poke a hole in LeBron. Listen, we will appreciate LeBron James's greatness far more once he retires. But the reality here is that he can't do this by himself. This isn't 2015 when you had Kyrie and you had Kevin Love out and LeBron was able to carry the Cavs in the finals and do what he did and had a monster NBA finals. You're not going to get that now. If Austin Reeves is back, you hit that second round, or hit that late part of the series, maybe they can get to the second round if Austin Reeves is at least back and healthy. Luka's probably not back for this series, so it's just tough. It's tough to get to the Lakers at that point where you trust them. And then, even with the Rockets, what are the Rockets? Right? We know that they've got Durant who can go out there and get you buckets still. They're a really good defensive team, and they're actually second in point differential, but yet they don't have a point guard that can kind of really help get that offense flowing. That's what Fred VanVleet was supposed to be. So you look at Houston, they've got holes. And granted, every team here has some level of a hole or a question mark. You could even question the play of the bigs of the Celtics, or, you know, are there going to be injury concerns at some point with the Thunder? They've dealt with that. That's been sort of their kryptonite this year in some ways. They started off 24-1, and then they went 18-13. And we watched, there was a point, believe it or not, there was a 12-game stretch, and I'll never forget this, where the Thunder had a worse record over a 12-game stretch than the Wizards, which is telling you something. So, like, you have these moments where it exists. But again, the playoffs are different. But you have questions with all of these teams. And it's, you know, it gets to a point where you've got to have everything so buttoned up. You've got to have the right headspace. You've got to have the right chemistry. You can play well in the regular season and go through these long stretches of great basketball, but it doesn't mean it translates to the playoffs. It also doesn't mean that because you're a hot team in the regular season, like, say, the Hawks. They were much better without Trae Young, shocker, but does that mean that's going to carry over against the Knicks? I mean, look at the Hornets. The Hornets were a team, I know they're not in the playoffs. They lost to the Magic last night, and they got their ass whooped, by the way. But, you know, that was a team that was one of the hotter teams in the NBA playing. I mean, they were one of the best offensive teams in the NBA. The Hornets were much better defensively from really January 1st on, yet it all kind of caught up to them against the Orlando Magic. And so much so, this is what LaMelo Ball had to say about his coach after the game.
Said internally, maybe at halftime, that you wanted to take matters into your own hands and really create a lot for your team then.
I just feel like it was just too late. I should have been doing that from the jump for real. But like I said, we was doing a lot of plays and stuff, just getting pushed around and everything. I feel like I should have just took the ball from the beginning for real.
LaMelo he's honest there, right? I mean, that was an awful game last night. Not that you thought the Hornets, if they made the playoffs, like the actual playoffs, were going to be a team that made a ton of noise, but they were one of those teams that everybody looked at and went, oh, something's clicking. The Hawks played better basketball February on. The Hornets played better basketball once we got to 2026. The Lakers were playing better basketball down the stretch of the regular season, but then injuries or something else has affected all of these teams. So it's very different when you talk about a carryover. Now, don't get me wrong. Spurs and Thunder could be the next great NBA rivalry for a long, long time. I mean, we could be talking about a decade of this. I'm just not ready to put the Spurs in that category yet because you have to go through with this core group. Don't think San Antonio Spurs, Tim Duncan. This is not the same team. It's like Patriots, not Tom Brady. But yet, you know, again, they figured it out with the defense they had. Again, it's not an apples to apples comparison here, but Spurs have to get a little bit of that experience. But the Spurs and Thunder don't like each other. We've seen it. Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama, two wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube men, just these long skinny arms out there throwing them around every time they play each other. They don't like each other. And it's got the recipe for a rivalry. It's just we're not there yet. But you got to think, similar roster construction for both of them, both very young. Their best players are in, you know, early to mid-20s. MVP candidates on both. SGA is probably going to win it again, but Victor Wembanyama is probably going to be an MVP, might be the face of the league in not too long, and you're looking around going, we've lacked rivalries for a while. I think we got something here. Thunder Spurs is, we got a real opportunity here as NBA fans to see what could be a bright, bright future and a really, really good stretch of just great rivalry games moving forward. Now, obviously, playing in the playoffs is what's really going to dictate that. The regular season's one thing. You need these to carry over the playoffs, but you also need players to just be on the same team. That's what's killed the NBA for so long with all these rivalries is you look around and say to yourself, where have all the rivalries gone? Oh, that's right. Guys have been jumping from team to team year after year. It's like, what's hurt college basketball? College basketball has one and dones and NIL and transfer portal and all these things coming together, which made it really hard to have just carryover from last season to this season. This happened last year. What happens this year? Those types of things matter, where there's an emotional connection, where there's a hatred, there's a player remembering what happened against this team last year, whatever the case is. I mean, it's one thing Duke and North Carolina, that's always going to be a rivalry, but, you know, the NBA is similar in the sense that if you have guys that are actually on a team for 3, 4, 5 years, you're building up that memory. You're building up that history, the resume between the two teams. That's how rivalries develop. The NBA trying their random rivalry week, I get it. Also right, the NBA reacting to, like, no rivalries, they recognize it too. They have their rivalry week or whatever it is, but some of these just don't make sense. You see, like they tried to push Grizzlies. I guess it was Grizzlies Warriors for like a year. That disappeared. A lot of reasons with the Grizzlies, but it's hard. It's hard to have teams that stay consistent, that stay playing at a high level, that stay in a spot where, they are championship contenders year after year, and you have meaningful games. And when you don't have that, it's really hard to make those series as interesting, like without it being organic. But we're starting to see a little bit of that build up. Look, guys having freedom to move around to different teams and free agency and all, I'm all for it, but there's limits to it. When you sign a contract with a team and a year later request a trade, it's like, well, you were just doing it so you could get more money and then ask. I mean, Paul George did it with the Clippers and the Thunder. Like that's, that nobody wants to see that. So there's limits to all this, but it's better for the game when you actually have rivalries that matter. And I think the NBA is going to kind of get back into that phase now. A lot of these young guys really starting to help build up a new era in the NBA. We're brought to you by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting your business vehicles 24/7. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com. There's one GM that thinks we could have absolute chaos in the NFL draft. What he said next. Nick Ashew, Westwood One Sports.
To dominate the first round of the NFL Draft, the Buckeyes have 5 players projected in the top 15. Downs, Tate, Styles, O.H. I.O. React with us Thursday as it all goes down from your home of the NFL, Westwood One Sports.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
If you've got spring fever, Lowe's has the cure. During SpringFest, make your landscape stand out with 3 free bags of Miracle-Gro 3/4 cubic foot garden soil when you buy 3. Plus, get up to 40% off select major appliances to keep clothes, food, and dishes fresh all season long. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for details. Soil offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Now that Wendy's has these new biggie deals, everyone in the family can get what they're craving, from nugs to JBCs. The parental units can get an $8 biggie bundle, the eldest who think they're so grown can get a $6 biggie bag, and the little one who can do no wrong can get a $4 biggie bites. You know, assuming they have a credit card. No, I'm kidding. We take cash too. 4, 6, and $8 biggie deals for the whole family. Only at Wendy's.
Price and participation may vary. Single items at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska, California, and Hawaii.
I was going to make a dentist appointment. I really was. But then it rained. And I thought, that feels like a sign. Then it stopped raining, which also felt like a sign. Then I got busy. Then I got hungry. Then suddenly it was somehow October. We're very creative when it comes to putting things off. Until we're not. When life needs you strong, you break through. Confidence unleashed. Find a dentist near you at smilegeneration.com/confidence.
What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36% more vacation.
Another pina colada?
Yes, please.
Open a new retail location with 36% more square feet.
Fantastic.
Hire 36% more help.
You're hired and you're hired.
Shopify has the world's best converting checkout, up to 36% better than other e-commerce platforms. What you do with those extra sales is up to you. Switch to Shopify today at shopify.com/setup and get a $1 trial. Shopify.com/setup.
For approval only.
Circle K's new free Inner Circle membership program is all about rewarding you with the things you'll love. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
It's time for Trash Day Nose Yoga with Hefty. Let's transform stinky scenarios with a joyful scent of Fabuloso. Inhale. You forgot to empty your kid's lunchbox. Exhale. A field of lavender. Inhale. Stinky leftovers. Exhale. Watermelon in the summer. That's the power of Hefty Ultra Strong Trash Bags with Fabuloso.
Hefty, hefty, hefty! At Boar's Head, we stop at nothing to achieve the most authentic flavors. That's why our bold Pitcraft slow smoked turkey breast is hand seasoned in our signature dry rub, including Guajillo chili pepper and brown sugar. Then, expertly smoked and slow roasted over real mesquite wood. For a burst of flavor so delicious, you would think you were standing over an open fire pit. Bold Pitcraft slow smoked turkey breast, available at the deli and only from Boar's Head. Compromise elsewhere.
Westwood One presents Nick Ashew.
Less than a week away from the NFL draft. Thank God. Just the lead up to this just takes forever. And if your team's picking early in the draft, you've probably thought about it and talked about it a lot more and checked mock drafts and mock draft sims. Yes, I'm that guy. I do it. I don't do it a lot. Sometimes it's also a bit for my DC shows, but the mock draft sims, there's a million different ways that the NFL draft can go. And sometimes, you just need to see it. What kind of trades could be offered early on? What could the board look like when your team picks it 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. 15, 16. If you're the Jets, you got 2 first-round picks. Jet fans are looking around going, hey, don't screw this up this year. I'll say this about the Jets. They don't know how to draft quarterbacks, but they've drafted other very talented players that have worked out. The Jets don't totally screw up the draft. That's a narrative that's not totally. It's just coaches are a problem, quarterbacks are a problem, ownership's a problem, making the playoffs is a problem. But, besides that, they've actually had some decent drafts or at least gotten some talent there. But, this draft lacks quarterbacks. You're going to have Fernando Mendoza go number 1 overall, and then maybe Ty Simpson's a first-round pick. But for the most part after that, the position that teams are always so desperate to reach for, you're not getting this year. But I just don't think that puts us in a position here where that guarantees that we're not going to have a ton of chaos, that we're not going to have a bunch of movement, that we're not going to have some surprises. Sometimes it's just players dropping or one player getting drafted way earlier than what you expected. But there's also the opportunity for trades. I mean, there are a lot of reports that Jera and the Cowboys really want to move up. They got 2 first-round picks. They want to package 20 and 12 and move up to 6 with the Browns. There's a chance they do that. They want to trade with the Commanders. Trust me, in D.C., that is a scary thought. People are like, oh, God, the Cowboys, do we take it? But then we get 2 first-round picks, and we need another one. That's a whole other thing. Brett Veach, the GM of the Chiefs, somebody that knows. They got multiple first-round picks, too, in Kansas City. He thinks there's going to be a lot of chaos in this draft.
I think that the fans will be in for a treat next Thursday because I think that, the grades are going to be so close from some of these tackles and DNs and other receivers that a lot of these guys that are mocked high may go a little lower, and a lot of these guys that are getting mocked a little lower may go a little higher because I think they're so close this year. It's not this huge gap and big fall off. And I think it should be an entertaining night and look, probably be a lot of trades. And I think that's what a draft like this, when you don't have, 2 or 3 franchise quarterbacks and, a Will Anderson or a Myles Garrett, I think it does lend itself to open up to a lot of fun and a lot of excitement. So I think from a fan's perspective, they should have a lot of fun next Thursday.
And listen, Will Anderson, he just mentioned, he just got a 3-year, $150 million extension. So if you can find a Will Anderson in this draft, you're going to be willing to pay that kind of money. That's for sure. But yeah, just because you don't have quarterbacks that are necessarily involved in this, teams make trades for other positions too. The most desperate moves are for quarterbacks because teams can't win. Your ceiling is always lower when you don't have quality quarterback play. But you know what also helps? A good edge rusher, a left tackle. Teams will trade up for offensive weapons. There's a lot of wide receivers on the back end of this first round, the early second round, where a team's going to be willing to trade back, get some value at wide receiver there, get back into the second round, or get into the second round so they can get a wide receiver there. I mean, there's a lot of different options. And, there's maybe not a generational edge rusher in our eyes right now, but it doesn't mean that you don't look at a certain player and say that is a need that we have and we're willing to sacrifice another one of our picks. Or a lot of teams, too, will look at their board the way the top 5, top 6 plays out and just say, we don't have our guys. We don't have the names that we really wanted. So let's trade back and try and get more value. And there's a lot of teams with first-round picks. In fact, it's the Chiefs, it's the Jets, it's the Browns, it's the Dolphins, it's the Cowboys. All have 2 first-round picks. At least one of those teams is going to be willing to trade up in this draft. There is no way that all of those teams are going to stay exactly where they are. There's just no way. And again, it depends on what your needs are. It depends on how that board shapes out. But you know what happens. There's always one player that shoots higher up than anybody expected, and there's always one player that drops like a rock. And if it's not a quarterback this year, it's somebody else. But then if you're one of these teams, you might say, oh, wait, there is actually more value in us trading up 4 or 5 spots than 10, and we don't have to necessarily give up both of our first-round picks. We can move up, give up another pick or a pick next year or whatever the case is, although a lot of teams aren't going to want to give up next year because this draft, at least now, in theory, on paper, is looked at as a really loaded draft. But there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to sit there and say, we've got the ammunition to move up. We've got the opportunity to make this change. We're looking around saying to ourselves, this is something that's viable in a draft this year that maybe doesn't have as many franchise-altering players in theory, but it fills a need that we have. I just, whenever you hear this, again, I know it's lying season. Stu, let me ask you this. As somebody that obviously is going to sit around here and hear as many of the things that I've had, I hear nothing but lies in D.C. all the time. This is lying season. I believe very little, but the thing that I believe the least this time of year is when GMs say things like, we don't think there's going to be any trades. I believe Brett Veach. I believe that there's going to be all kinds of movement in this first round, especially with 5 teams having multiple first-round picks in this draft, dude.
Yeah, and a lot will go into next year's draft having maybe being considered a better draft and there being more quarterbacks. So I think there'll be teams trying to set themselves up for next year. I think there'll be teams that are trying to take advantage of teams doing that and then trying to set themselves up for this year. So trying to trade back into the first or trying to acquire a second-round pick. Yeah, I do agree. I do think there's going to be a lot of moves. I'd actually be kind of surprised if there wasn't, if I was being honest with you. What team not trading up would surprise you the most? So it's the Chiefs. So these are teams with first-round picks. Chiefs, Jets, Browns, Dolphins, and Cowboys. Which team not making a trade? And I'll frame it this way. I would be shocked if the Cowboys don't trade up. I would be shocked if Jera doesn't trade up. Is there no more Cowboys move, Stu, than trading up for Jeremiah Love? Like, Jeremiah Love falls to like 6 or 7, which again would make it really interesting in a trade with Washington. But you've got 12 and 20. Isn't that Jera picking up the phone? All right, he is a perfect Dallas Cowboy. He is so fancy. We would love to have him in a Cowboys uniform. Trading up for Jeremiah Love is such, even with that terrible defense the Cowboys have, that's such a Cowboys move, isn't it?
It really is. That was the first team that came to mind.
I knew it. Yeah.
I can see the Dolphins too, but really the Cowboys, when you have the 2 first-round picks, you have so much stuff that you have to improve, and trading up when they need to improve a defense and them trading up to take a running back when their offense is pretty good. I mean, I feel like the defense is the one part of that team that needs a lot of work, but trading for a running back in the top 7 or 8, that would be such a Cowboys move. Of course it would.
Well, I think the difference, too, is that, like, if you look at a team like the Browns, the Dolphins, the Jets, they're not in win-now mode. They've got a little more flexibility. They can take some risks. They can do things differently. The Cowboys, though, are in win-now mode. Jarrah's always in win-now mode. Now, granted, there's a limit to the win-now because we know that they build this roster more for excitement than they do actually winning a Super Bowl, even though he loves to tell you it's all about winning another Super Bowl. But, when you look at Dallas, it's like they want the flashy move. I could see a team like the Dolphins or the Jets or, some of these other teams where it's like your moves don't have to be for right now. They can be for next year or the year after, which in some ways, too, makes me think Ty Simpson's going to be a first-round pick, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see a team like the Dolphins or the Jets potentially using, and now the Dolphins at 30 makes a lot of sense. The Dolphins have a pick at 43. They could trade back up into the first round. The Jets have a pick at 16, but they also have a pick at 44. Do they trade back up late into the first round and take a guy like Ty Simpson? Because teams want to have that extra year on that rookie scale contract and have that option in the 5th year. I think we'll see one of those teams like the Dolphins or Jets who they got questions at quarterback, obviously. I could see one of them trading back in or using a late first-round pick in some way to get Ty Simpson, too.
Yeah, especially with Simpson being, with all intents and purposes, the second-best quarterback in this draft, whether he is a second-round pick or a late first-round pick, I think he'll be drafted as that. And we always see the quarterback going, that next quarterback going higher than he should probably. So I think teams are going to kind of, overestimate what he is because he is the second best quarterback, and quarterback is the most prominent position. So I could totally see someone like the Dolphins or Jets, one of those AFC East teams, drafting Simpson.
God, it would be to reach for somebody like Ty Simpson. Have teams not learned from the Kenny Pickett situation yet? I mean, that's all I can think of is just when you have no quarterbacks that should be first-round picks, and then all of a sudden teams make multiple quarterbacks first-round picks, that's when I look at this and I just go, oh, this is happening. And yet, at the same time, it just feels like, listen, you can't judge a quarterback necessarily by a short stretch in a season, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be a little bit alarmed. I mean, the last 4 games of the season for Ty Simpson, he completed 57% of his passes. He's got 15 starts. That's just not enough. If you really look at the success of quarterbacks in the NFL, these are quarterbacks that have a lot of college success. It's maybe shocking, but experience actually helps a quarterback. I'm in the category of giving quarterbacks time to develop, not rush them out there and start them right away. And I know there are people that feel opposite about it. And again, yes, there are some quarterbacks that are ready quickly. Jaden Daniels was ready, at least, as long as he's healthy, right away. You can go down, and again, that's just one. You can go down the list and find some of these guys. But that doesn't mean that every quarterback that's drafted in the first round or the second round should be thrown out there almost right away by a team. It's okay to develop a quarterback, especially if your team has no talent around them either. Like, everybody loves to throw Patrick Mahomes out there. Well, look at Patrick Mahomes and how good he was when, his last game of the season, he started his rookie year MVP the next year. Yeah, let's not forget that the Chiefs had one of the best records in the NFL the year before. They traded up as a playoff team to draft Patrick Mahomes and also still sat him for almost the entire season. So we can't sit here and just act like it's a situation that dictates the success of a quarterback. If you're going to be a team that drafts Ty Simpson in the first round and you want to start him this year, you are setting him up for failure. You are setting him up for failure unless it's a playoff team. But here's the thing. Any of those playoff teams, they're not trading up for a quarterback anyway. I mean, maybe the Steelers if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, but is Ty Simpson going to be ready to start for the Steelers? Is he going to start for anybody? I mean, teams felt better after his pro day, but how many times have we watched that? Guy has great pro day, moves up in the draft, Anthony Richardson. How's that turned out? I mean, again, Anthony Richardson, another quarterback, not ready to be a starter in the NFL. How much experience did Anthony Richardson have as a starting quarterback going back from high school through college to the NFL? Not much. There is such an alignment there between experience as quarterback before the NFL and success at the quarterback level, at the NFL level at quarterback. I mean, we don't need to rush these quarterbacks out. Go back and look at, so the 2024 draft class at quarterback. You had 6 quarterbacks go in the first 12 picks: Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, that whole group. All those guys had a lot of starting experience in college. Some of them even transferred, got to better situations, more experience in big games, in the SEC, big football programs. Now, the jury's out on some of them, and really all of them. It's a small sample size and what the long-term trajectory of their career is going to be, but they all had, from even Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix had more starts than any quarterback in the history of college football. I mean, Caleb Williams, again, all of them, most of them transferred, a lot of them had multiple years as starters. That matters. Now, if you do care, DraftKings does have Ty Simpson as a -130 to be a first-round pick, and a heavy favorite to at least be selected at 25 or later, which is kind of in that range. Cardinals are the favorites to draft him. You got the Jets right behind him. I think the Dolphins should be in that mix. But the Cardinals also, that's a team that sits at 34. Could they trade up? I think the Jets at 16 is too soon. But what if the Cardinals also decide they want to trade up? I think in the end we see Ty Simpson in the first round. He shouldn't be a first-round pick, but that doesn't matter. We all know that. So, in the end, there might be a reach for somebody like Ty Simpson. But if you do trade for him, you do trade up and you draft him, don't start him this first year. Just this rush of... listen, Fernando Mendoza shouldn't even be starting right away. It's not like the Raiders are a good team. This team had the worst record in the NFL. To throw a quarterback out there with no talent around him, they just don't. That's what Kirk Cousins is for. So hopefully that's going to be what they do. And again, do I really care either way? No, it doesn't affect me at all, but I'd like to see Kirk Cousins get out there a little bit longer. Give Fernando Mendoza a chance. He can work on some of his ChatGPT responses. I tell you, you want to unhear this if you haven't heard this yet? Listen to Fernando Mendoza answer questions. He sounds like an AI response every time. You'll never unhear it now. I mean, it's just every single time. And again, he's perfect. Fernando Mendoza is like the structure of a person you'd want at quarterback in terms of the maturity and the leadership and, how he handles things. He's not going to get in trouble in Vegas. He'll be fine. It's just like every time I hear Fernando Mendoza talk, I'm like, is that AI? AI Mendoza? I mean, every single time. Nick Ashew, Westwood One Sports.
This Thursday, it's the NFL Draft, and several teams could be wheeling and dealing. Cowboys, Browns, Jets, Chiefs, and Dolphins all have multiple first-round picks. Who will be bold enough to be on the move? Your home of the NFL, Westwood One Sports.
Do you have an invention idea but don't know what to do next? Call Invent Help today. We have representatives nationwide and services to showcase your invention. Get started today.
Call 1-800-217-4380. That's 1-800-217-4380.
Give your car the spring cleaning it deserves. At Tidal Wave Auto Spa, you can wash away winter's dirt and grime with a top-of-the-line car wash that leaves your car shining on the outside and fresh on the inside. Plus, every wash includes free vacuums, microfiber towels, and interior cleaning spray so you can finish the job. In just minutes, your car will be looking its best again. That's the clean car happy feeling. Tidal Wave Auto Spa makes it quick, easy, and convenient. Find a location near you today at TidalWaveAutoSpa.com.
Are you an adult with uncontrolled moderate to severe Crohn's disease symptoms and still packing a backup bag of clothes? Just in case? Skyrizi Risankizumab Riza can help you take control of your Crohn's. Feel significant symptom relief, including less abdominal pain and fewer bowel movements at 4 weeks. Plus, Skyrizi is proven to help people achieve remission and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Individual results may vary. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's. Ready to take control of your Crohn's? Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's disease.
Control is everything to me.
Learn more at skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets, but I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there. To learn more, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
When it's time to scale your business, it's time for Shopify. Get everything you need to grow the way you want, like all the way. Stack more sales with the best converting checkout on the planet. Track your cha-chings from every channel, right in one spot. And turn real-time reporting into big-time opportunities. Take your business to a whole new level. Switch to Shopify. Start your free trial today.
Spectrum TV makes sports easy, so I never miss. Never miss a homer. Never miss a home field hat trick. Never miss a goal line stand, inches from the end zone. Never miss an end-to-end, tic-tac-toe, top-shelf snipe. Never miss a downtown buzzer beater for the championship win. Get your favorite streaming apps included at no extra cost with Live TV. It's one plan, one price, one place for all your sports. For details, visit SpectrumTV.com.
The all-new Whoop is here. Now more advanced than ever. Train smarter, sleep deeper, recover faster. Extend your healthy years. Understand your cycle phases. Now 7% smaller with 14 plus days of battery life. So your data never stops, and neither do you. Power your best performance with memberships made for every goal. Join Whoop today.
For approval only.
Circle K's new free Inner Circle membership program is all about rewarding you with the things you'll love. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
Right now at the Home Depot, shop Spring Black Friday savings and get up to 40% off, plus up to $500 off select appliances from top brands like Samsung. Get a fridge with 0 clearance hinges, so the doors open fully even in tighter spaces in your kitchen. And laundry that saves you time, like an all-in-one washer-dryer that can run a full load in just 68 minutes. Shop Spring Black Friday savings, plus get free delivery on appliance purchases of $998 or more at the Home Depot. Offer valid April 9th through April 29th. U.S. only. See store online for details.
With 50 years of expertise, Smoothie King designs each recipe from the ground up. We know protein is a big deal, and now it's more delicious than ever with our high-protein Greek yogurt bowls. Dig into our new PB Banana Bowl with layers of Greek yogurt, fresh strawberries, bananas, purely Elizabeth granola, cocoa nibs, and drizzles of peanut butter and honey. Or try our new Honey Berry Bowl with layers of Greek yogurt, fresh blueberries, strawberries, chia seeds, and honey drizzle. Only at Smoothie King, the best kind of delicious.
You know that voice, the one that says, not today, next week. It's probably nothing. It's very convincing, reasonable, calm, always has a plan that involves doing this later, much later. And then there's the other voice, quieter, harder to hear, the one that says, just take care of it. That's the one you want to listen to, because when you show up for yourself, you break through. Confidence unleashed. Find a dentist near you at smilegeneration.com/confidence.
Westwood One presents Nick Ashew.
You know, as important as quarterbacks are in the NFL, you still have to have a defense, and I think we've learned that now, right? I mean, look at the playoffs. Look at the Super Bowl. You know, I know that we had a running back that was an MVP, but it was the Seahawks defense that really won them that and set them up for success. But, I mean, there are so many teams in the NFL now that you can look at and say their defense is just as important, if not more important, at this moment than their quarterback. I mean, as great as Bo Nix has been for the expectations that are there, it was the Broncos defense. And we know that it was the Patriots defense. And the Eagles made the playoffs because of their defense. And you go down the list, and it's like you look at Will Anderson getting that 3-year, $150 million extension. Like, yeah, of course the Texans are going to give him that. He's elite. He's an elite pass rusher. And the positions that are the most important in the NFL are quarterback, and then every other position that comes close to the quarterback, whether it's the left tackle, protecting the blind side of the quarterback, whether it's the, edge rusher that gets after the quarterback, which would be, Will Anderson in that case. Like, it matters. And hell, the Texans were, look at what happened to the Texans. The Texans were at least in position to win that playoff game where C.J. Stroud decided he forgot how to play football. And it's because of their defense. And they have to lock that thing up, because now if you're Houston, you got questions about C.J. Stroud, obviously. Now I think they're going to pay him. think they're going to figure this out, because in the end, we all know what it's like to go from quarterback that maybe has questions but has high upside and is still kind of young versus let's go out on the free agent market and find Jacoby Brissett, who's now wants starter money from the Cardinals, which, by the way, I don't blame him because he's going to be the starter for them. But, you look around and we understand the value of quarterbacks, but the NFL is shifting a little bit. And it's defenses will go and they'll counter the way that quarterbacks play. And, for a while we were watching the Chiefs early on with Patrick Mahomes where they were airing the football out, throwing things deep and went from single high, two high safeties, things like that, where they're taking away the deep balls. So the Chiefs, and this is just one example, changing the way that they ran their offense a little more over the middle and running the football and things like that. Defenses will make offenses also have to change the way they play. It's a copycat league. Everybody does. You still have to be able to run the football to set up the pass. You still have to have a defense that can stop teams. I mean, as great as it is to have a quarterback, if you don't have a defense that can get any stops whatsoever, that can get after the quarterback, that can disrupt an offense, that can put a team in a position to win, like just the basics, it doesn't matter. If you're down 14-0 at the end of the first quarter, your offense can be loaded. It can be elite. You can have a great quarterback. You can have or at least a good quarterback or a good regular season quarterback, whatever. You're still down 14-0. You're altering the way that you're playing.